This video is a tour of our greenhouse, which comes from Growers Supply, a division of Farm Tech. It's 30 by 96 feet, and it's Thanksgiving Day, Thursday the 24th, 2011. And you can see how things are looking here. This is greens, turnips. In this row, the next row, we have more turnips, Swiss chard, broadleaf mustard, here's broccoli. Looks really good. And after the broccoli, we have cauliflower and heads of lettuce and tatsoi, more lettuce, dill. Then over here we start the rows of tomatoes. We have 3 rows of tomatoes here. Also look very good. This is a determinate types we put on this row. And on the next row we have determinants. Next row is indeterminates, which are already getting some size to them. We have a lot of salad types in this row. There are some bigger tomatoes, bigger types. Over here we have more lettuce planted and carrots. And the spots that look kind of vacant is cilantro. And we have beets up there at the other end. Now this greenhouse comes with curtains on the end with zippers. They don't have enclosed sides, so I had to build the enclosed sides and put a door in. Then we have a big exhaust fan that we put on top to blow down the hot air. Now I'll go down some of these rows for you. You can see what the lettuce heads look like. Great lettuce. You can see the cilantro seedlings just coming there. Everything does really well in a greenhouse. The flavor is unbelievable. It's extremely tender. There's beets. Get down here and you can see the beet bottoms already. In our local store we priced beets yesterday, and I think it was $2.79 for just 3 small beets. So beets are expensive. And lettuce, head lettuce was quite expensive too. It was like $1.89 a a head romaine type. I think this is like butter crunch or something like that. So you can raise a lot of produce in a greenhouse. We are in central Texas, which makes a lot of difference, of course, and how cold it gets here, but there's some onions. And on this side, let me go over here where the sun isn't going to hit me too much. Okay, so we have bell peppers. We put them in at the same time that the tomatoes went in. You can see they're a lot smaller than tomatoes. We've never tried bell peppers in the winter, but since they're related to tomatoes, we don't see why they don't do any good, or won't do any good. And we find that tomatoes here in central Texas, way too hot for tomatoes in the summertime. They begin to put on a crop in the fall, and then of course frost gets them. And these tomatoes are almost waist high here. A lot of flowers. You see flower clusters everywhere. I don't know the count of the tomatoes. Now here's one that's chest high. So really taking off. Yeah, all these really high tomatoes. Yeah, this is up to my chest. So it's a good time to give a tour of the greenhouse so you can see what it's like. A lot of tomatoes setting here. There were a few. Let's see now. I saw a few tomatoes set the other day. Maybe it's in this row where they're the determinate kind that don't get so tall. And what we do is we have these T-posts up in the row, and then as you see we pad the T-post here on top, and then we put a wire through here, so there's 3 of those. Okay, so if it's going to get really cold at night, we take a piece of plastic which is 20 feet wide by 100 feet long and drape it over top of the tomatoes. And that way, even though we have a heater in here, we barely have to heat it, because that will protect the tomatoes, which are very sensitive to cold, and the other types of plants that we have aren't sensitive. So all the tomatoes and peppers are under cover, and the rest of the greens and beets and carrots and all that aren't covered up. So, and they don't seem to get hurt even when the temperature falls below freezing for a while, at least around the edges of the greenhouse, and it gets about freezing. Okay, now there's some tomatoes forming there. Very perfect looking, everything looks perfect. Yeah, and we do sell tomatoes, so now these are quite small compared to the other ones. These must be some indeterminate that happened to get stuck in the wrong place. But it doesn't matter because we can just cover them all. The T-posts are pretty close together. Around 6 feet, I guess. And we've noticed even the tomato flavor is just unbelievable compared to, what we raise out in the fields. Seems so sweet. Here's our broccoli plants. At least knee high, maybe even more than knee high. Yeah, it is more than knee high in some of these broccoli plants. And the green's on the other side, as you can see. Here's a head of broccoli. Okay, here's cauliflower. Cauliflower and broccoli do particularly well here. Put stuff in the field out here, I mean maybe in February or something like that. You could still get a frost. And then we have these heat spells where it just all of a sudden warms up so quick. So we don't really enjoy a lot of the things that we can raise here in the greenhouse. I mean, it's just a whole different world in here. There's humidity, and the wind isn't here like outside, and everything grows really well. You can see we got a lot of lettuce. Lettuce grows fast. So when the lettuce comes out, we'll have more lettuce go in. There's Swiss chard. We use sheep manure mostly for fertilizer here. Might stick in some other fertilizer, but sheep manure. This is this tat soy. And we originally did this just for us because we wanted to have fresh vegetables in the winter and just, something to do. You can come out here and get really warm quick. Here's dill, as you see here. So our salads have dill in it. I don't know what this is. Something dead looks like. Okay. Yeah. So we have a lot of dill. Turnips over here. Turnips grow extremely fast here. You can see the turnip bottoms. When they get too big, if we don't sell them, they get too big, and then we give them to the sheep. And a lot of these greens in here, like this broadleaf mustard, has been cut down and it's regrowing. As you can see, it's been cut and it's regrowing again. Well, we've given a lot of that to the sheep. Okay. And here's a gadget that I fixed up. This is a pipe that goes underground. It's hooked onto my irrigation 4-inch pipe. It goes 1,580 feet across my property, and that was all in, most of it. I think I put in about 600 feet to here. And then this goes into this barrel. It's made a hole in this barrel. And then we have a squirrel cage fan in the barrel. So when you plug it in, it's supposed to be sucking air from the pipe out and putting it into the greenhouse. And the other end of the pipe comes out of the ground and way out in the field, 1,580 feet out there. And it seems like it works. We're getting some warmer air in here for a while. And then I took an old swamp cooler and I thought, well, I'd try that. So I've covered the sides up, and I also bent the louvers in so that it would suck air through the pipe, but it doesn't seem to work nearly as well as the barrel. I'm going to plug this barrel in here. This barrel seems to be more effective. So I'm putting my hand over it. And we run this barrel at night and turn off the overhead fan to try and get it a little warmer in here. I keep a temperature gauge here. It says right here by the sun it's 99, but it's not anything, it's not really anything like that, you know, the temperature. I mean, I would put it about 80 maybe, you know, over here. That's just in the sun. So that temperature puts the temperature on the thermometer in our bedroom. So at night I can look at it, see if anything's, you know, something's amiss, if it gets really cold. And we're using a torpedo heater right here, Mr. Heater, and it burns diesel. So if it gets below freezing, well, our first line of defense, of course, is to cover the tomatoes. And then this heater usually doesn't go on until it's well below freezing along the sides. So we've had real good success with that. And I think a lot of people would be afraid to turn it down as low as I have. But it works. It got us through last winter, and last winter was a very, very cold time. I mean, we had some really cold days. So we made it through, and it cost-wise $200 for the whole winter in Central Texas. That's cheap to heat this greenhouse and raise tomatoes. I don't know what more I can tell you about it. The greenhouse has roll-up sides. You can see one person can easily just, you know, roll the sides up and put them down. It's not hard at all. So it's different than other greenhouses. It was hard to build. My wife and I put it up, and we were, you know, in our mid-60s, so I can't say it was easy. You know, and if I had to do it again, I don't think I'd try it. So, but as far as that goes, I mean, I'm glad it's here, and we enjoy the greenhouse. But it was difficult to put up. So if Farm Tech sees this video, well, you know, I hope they don't mind my telling people that, you know, it's a big greenhouse, and it takes a lot of effort for older people. You know, if you're young and you can get somebody to help you, well, then go at it. But you're going to have to then build ends like this, or they sell some kind of a metal kit that does the ends. And then I ended up buying a used outside door, storm door, for $20. Well, let me unplug my heater here. You know, but I wouldn't discourage you from doing it. You know, I mean, we should have done it when we moved here over 12 years ago. I mean, when we first got here, we should have put this up. We'll step outside here. I've had other videos of my greenhouse up. Yeah, you can see them on my site, but there's our insulated door that I paid $20 for. Very good door, heavyweight. And we just have it so you can pull it back. I've got the other little part so you can't open it too much, but you know, as far, but we took that off so we can just open it up. Here's the roll-up assembly right here. Goes on a rail, and here's the thing, you stick it in, and there's a crank, and you just roll it up and down. Now, as you can see, down the length of the greenhouse, if the sun doesn't get in our eyes too much. And I made this extra high. It's supposed to only be about 4 feet, and I think I made it like 6 feet, so I put the board way up high. Well, the sun is behind me. You should be able to pretty much see how that is. And we irrigate, drip irrigation, so you know, it's pretty easy. But really far more enjoyable than a garden, you know, because you can raise all this stuff in the winter. There's this side here, the dark side. We have our big asparagus patch, which I've shown in another video out here. We're cutting it for sheep feed before the frost really kills it. We've had one hard frost, and it was like just 4th of April or something, or excuse me, 4th of November we had one hard frost and a couple small ones. Well, if we wouldn't have had that 28 degrees, you know, everything would be fine, but we had 28 degrees. It didn't seem to affect the asparagus, but we see a little yellowing in it now, so we're cutting it to feed to the sheep before it, you know, can die down completely. We just put this asparagus patch in this spring, so it's really doing well. We hope to be able to sell some asparagus from it. As I said in the other video, it was inexpensive, $221 for 1,000 plants. You know, that's like 21 cents a plant, and they were at least 3-year-old plants. I got those from Norris, N-O-R-S-E, I believe is, and that's, can't remember the state, Minnesota or somewhere like that. Anyway, they're real good to deal with. I mean, their prices are unbelievably reasonable. Jersey Supreme, and you can see the asparagus has seeds on them, so you could just pick all these seeds and plant them, and you'd have all male asparagus. So that's pretty much a tour of the greenhouse. We still have a few things in the garden, and we're outside here by the blackberries. So here's a row of blackberries, which I've shown before. So even those cold temperatures didn't seem to hurt the blackberries. And as everybody knows, Texas was in a horrible drought this year. But we've had some rain, and I think we had the first big rain was 5 to 6 inches, and then since then we had 3/10, and then we had an inch just here a few days ago. So things are looking up for us. The Bermuda grass, coastal Bermuda, has died down. I mean, that frost got it. But you can see there's a lot of other grasses and some types of weeds that are growing. And they're in the field too, but I don't think they're not quite as nice in the field. But the sheep do have something to eat. So we only hope that this next spring things turn around and we don't have the La Nina effect, excuse me, it's La Nina I guess they say, which is supposedly causes all these problems that we have. We did have the driest on record, and it wasn't nice because of the heat. But we've survived that here. This is the refuge. And there's not as many cows around here anymore. A lot of people got rid of cows and goats and sheep that can't feed them, don't have enough hay or no hay at all to get them through the winter. So there's a whole lot less, and I don't know whether anyone will get any more. So what that does for the land, I mean, it gives it a chance to relax. I'm trying to make this video 30 minutes. Those two. YouTube gives you the opportunity to have more than 15 minutes. Well, it's such a luxury because you try to hurry to get your videos done in 15 minutes like I used to, and now I can just take as long as I want. So, you know, I'm just taking advantage of the situation. Although maybe I should just stop, say goodbye. 27 minutes. So you've seen the greenhouse and what it's like inside. And for a thing to survive, you know, it's makes a lot of difference. You can save yourself unbelievable amount of money this way if you have a greenhouse. I mean, we have this greenhouse, and also we have 2 milk goats that are doing pretty well. Give like 2 quarts together in the morning, and at least more than a quart in the evening. So, you know, so we have over 3/4 of a gallon a day, which we're forced to make a lot of cheese with, and yogurt, and, you know, the milk. And so that's, you know, that's a way to cut your food costs. If you have a piece of land, you know, use it, try to develop it, and get ready. There's a lot of warnings on YouTube that things are going to happen in the future. You know, what's going to happen, I don't know, but I mean, the United States is still blessed as compared to a lot of foreign countries that are going through, in the EU, the austerity measures in Greece and Italy, and we see Spain, and you know, it's terrible, the things that are going on. People are losing their livelihoods, you know, they're losing the money that they've saved. So it looks bad. And I think that those repercussions are going to hit the United States of America even worse than they've already hit. I mean, this is not, you know, I'm not saying anything that other people don't know. You can read it on the news, and just, you don't have to read between the lines. You know, this is no hype. This is happening. So try to get yourself in a position where you can survive. You know, we really can. If once they turn our power off and all that, even, you know, if you have some solar panels, you might survive, you know, with that to a certain extent. But I mean, we used to live under solar power before. You know, we did it for a long time. And, you know, a way to get your water. But to think that, you know, if it costs some elaborate sum of money to get prepared, well, you know, I don't know if I would do that. You know, try to keep it down, keep it as cheap as possible, and everything will hopefully work out for you. Trust the Lord with all your might. Don't lean on your own understanding, although you have to sort of lean on your understanding when you do a lot of research in how to survive. So, but I think you can make it. Get a little knowledge, and if the Lord blesses you and you find a place to go, you know, I've suggested that people come here to Texas, but you have to be a pretty hardy soul to come here and make it, or at least be adventurous. I'm not really interested in going to another country right now. You know, when you read about even Central American, South American countries, it looks like a lot of problems with the government, and then there's a lot of drug dealers there, and they have very high murder rates in a lot of those countries. And so, you know, where we are here in Texas seems very secure to me. So I feel like the Lord did lead. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I'm not going to make big statements like a lot of people, you know, but the evidence is here that God did lead me here. And we're still here after all these years, and we're doing well, not just surviving. So, you know, I would love it if other people would be down here, but you know, I can't support somebody else. I mean, I already know how that is. So anybody that comes down here needs to learn to support themselves and make it, you know, and you can rely on one another to a point, you know, but you can't drag one another down. So that's the way I would like to see it. So let's call this good for the end of this video. And I wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for watching, and if you care to, leave comments. Bye.